Hi everyone, it's Heather. Thanks for joining me. I thought I'd come on today and show you these envelopes I made a little bit of time ago, and I got the idea from Teal and Tattered, her channel. Now I think she used vellum rather than the paper that I've used. I've used handmade paper just to get a slightly different effect. But the technique is very similar, but I will, if I can find her video, and I'm fairly sure I will be able to, I'll link it below. If I don't link it below, just remind me, because I might forget. So what she did was she used an envelope and then added a section of vellum, I think it was vellum, to it. Hers were sort of transparent so you could actually see what was inside, but I decided to use handmade paper because I've got quite a lot of handmade paper, and I thought, you know what, that's such a lovely texture, I'll do that. But you could do it with vellum as well, and I have actually cut some vellum out because I might have a bit of a go. I know a lot of people do the windows on their envelope, so you could cut an envelope and then add a vellum window, for example, to it. But this, I just really like this because it's very shabby, and I think goes quite well with some of the style of journals that I do. So while I absolutely adore the vellum window look, because it's great because you can see what's in your envelope, and that's great for journaling cards where you've added some very pretty journaling cards, or you want to show the treats that you've got in there. I just really love this because it's such a different texture, and I just really like the handmade paper. So I did it slightly differently. So I'll show you what I did. So I cut two shapes, two envelope shapes that are identical. I use a die cutting machine, but you could easily just use a template. Now, like a complete Wally, I cut mine out and forgot to use my crease pad, so mine are a little bit on the fragile side, but I'm not going to recut just because I want to get this finished so that I can put some of the bits and bobs away. So I've got two shapes of envelopes cut, and they're scored as well because mine are pre-scored, so you know where to fold them. I use a patterned piece of paper, and I've taken this from a 12 by 12 Trimcraft pad. It's actually sort of double-sided because it's sort of shimmery on the inside, but it doesn't have to be double-sided paper because you're actually going to be covering the inside with your second die cut or your second envelope shape. And I've used this beautiful mulberry handmade pink paper. It's absolutely divine and I love it. So you just need to make sure your shapes line up, because what you're going to be doing is sticking this one onto your patterned one. But before you do that, you're going to basically, you can see here there's a sort of tear out, and you can see that goes all the way to the back. Well, what you're going to do is tear a slice out of your envelope. So I'm just going to tear across, and it will tear in half. And then you're going to do the same just there, just to tear a chunk basically out of your envelope. So now you can see, you can save this and use it for scraps. You could do it the other way around and have another couple of shapes and do that with the other paper. That's clearly not the right way round. There you go. So you could do it that way around if you wanted to. However, here we go. So I've torn a strip out of the envelope, and then all I'm going to do is glue this part of the envelope that I've torn onto the other envelope shape like that. But before you do that, you can sort of make the edges a lot prettier by adding glitter. In the case of the ones, I added some ink to make it look like it was sort of burnt and very vintage, and I also used some gilding, which I think looks absolutely gorgeous. And it was already glittered, this particular paper stack was, but I added ink and gilding to all of these ones because I wanted them of a similar style. Obviously I used a gold paper there anyway, so that went quite nicely, and you can see that this paper is glittered. But I'm thinking with this one, because it's more of a sort of a sheen to the paper. I might just take some of that off a little bit actually. What I'll do, I think, is just ink it slightly and then maybe add a little bit of glitter, using maybe stickles to the edge. Now, because I'm going to ink it, I'm going to do that before I stick it down, but I think I'll do the stickles after. So I'm going to let it dry and then I'll add those afterwards. But it's a really simple technique. So let's just pick some ink to use. Clearly I'm going to want to use one of these, but I don't know, my spun sugar never really seems to stand out, if I'm honest. So I'm just going to apply it directly. It is showing up, but I'm putting it on directly just because whenever I use a pad, you can never see it. Literally, it just sort of blends into the background. So let's see if we can really soak it up this time. I might just pop a little bit to emphasise those creases. That's quite nice, that shows up a bit better. And pop it on this side as well. This is going all over my fingers. And obviously if you want to, you can add a little bit of ink to the paper behind as well. You could do that afterwards, but I think I'm just going to just emphasise the fold a little bit. You can see where, because I didn't use a crease pad, the envelopes are a little bit, they're almost cut on the folds. So that was my bad, because I just left the crease pad in the slot, completely forgetting I needed to use that because it's been a while since I've used it. It's easy enough to cut envelopes out anyway in the same shape. If you've got punch board, or just take an old envelope apart and use that as a template, or do a download. There's plenty of options to get an envelope shape. Okay, so I've got that the right way up now, and this way you get a lovely lining as well, because you've got some handmade paper on the inside as well. So that's why the top paper doesn't, the top layer doesn't have to be double-sided, because you're not really going to see it, unless of course you're using vellum, in which case if you use this technique you will see it a little bit. You have to excuse the noise outside, somebody's obviously doing some work. Excuse me. Right, so now I'm going to use a glue, and I'm just going to put the glue on the inside of the ripped envelope. I'm putting plenty on, and I'm using a PVA glue. I use Cosmic Shimmer because it's great, it dries clear, it sticks fast and seems to last, and it's quite quick to dry as well, so you don't have to hold it for too long. So make sure it's on the edge. But I would imagine, to be honest, if you're doing this with a fairly lightweight paper, you could probably get away with a glue stick. Just make sure that the folds are in line, because obviously it's got to fold over to make your envelope form. And my glue was working beautifully, and now it has decided to play up. So it's going to work. I did get myself another bottle of the Trimit, sort of the glue that I use all the time for adding rhinestones and things like that onto stuff. I love it. I went to a place called Boys, a town a couple of towns away from us, and it's absolutely brilliant. I just popped in there because my daughter wanted some stickers. We took her to the dentist, and, just as a bit of a reward because she was very brave. Not that the dentist did a great deal, but we just went and bought her a pack of stickers. Some really cute little cat stickers. And while I was in there, I happened to know that they have a fantastic craft and haberdashery area. So I went and got myself some glue, and I managed to get some black felt. I got something else in there as well. Can't remember what was it. Oh yeah, some scissors. Oh, I've been after some scissors for a long time, some small scissors, but they had embroidery because it's haberdashery. So I picked up these ones. I was going to get some from Amazon, but totally forgot. So when I saw them, I thought, well, that's handy, I'll get those. Anyway, I digress. It's just because I've made a right mess of this, to reinforce it, I could always add a little bit of washi tape on the inside. Potentially I could use that as it's upside down then, so that's not great. I could just add some washi tape there, but you get the idea. And then I would form the envelope, and there we go. So there's a beautiful envelope with some handmade paper, and it just looks absolutely divine because you've got that different texture. So I probably will add a little bit of glitter, using the glitter glue to the either side of this, but I'm not going to do that now because I think you probably get the idea. They'd be great to decorate up, and this is quite a nice size actually for journaling cards, or you could potentially just leave it for people to unfold, and then they can always add a photograph or something like that and open it up potentially. That's a good thing about doing it from a template or a die. Anyway, I'm going on a bit, so thanks very much for joining me. That's basically how I do it, and the video that inspired me hopefully will be linked below. I hope you enjoyed that, and maybe it's inspired you to try something, although I acknowledge there's nothing new in crafting, and chances are everybody's done it already, or certainly something on that theme. But I know I like watching videos where I'm sort of re-inspired. Sometimes I think, oh yeah, I remember that technique, I might just get some bits out and do something along those lines. So hopefully that's helped, and thanks for joining me. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Bye.